Alan Watts was one of the most fascinating minds of the 20th century. What made him stand out was his gift for taking complex Eastern ideas and making them understandable to the Western world. Born in Britain, but spending much of his life in America, he started out as a theologian. But soon, his curiosity led him beyond traditional religion into the rich world of Eastern philosophy. He explored Zen, Hinduism, and more. Yet there was one path that truly spoke to him. Taoism. Taoism, an ancient Chinese philosophy, doesn't try to fix or control the world. Instead, it teaches us to flow with it, to observe, to accept, and to move in harmony with the natural order. This idea of the Tao, the Way, fascinated Watts, a quiet force that runs through everything, guiding life not with pressure, but with ease. In his final book, Tao, the Watercourse Way, Watts doesn't just explain Taoism, he brings it to life. His writing flows like a river, gentle, simple, effortless. This book isn't just a lesson, it's an invitation to stop living by what we should do and start embracing what is. What is the Tao, and what does the Watercourse Way really mean? The word Tao literally means the way, but it's not a road you can walk or a path you can follow in the usual sense. It's deeper than that. The Tao is the natural flow of the universe. It's the rhythm behind everything, from the motion of the stars to the way trees grow, rivers bend, and even how we breathe. It's not something you can see or touch. It's something you feel when you stop resisting and start flowing with life. Alan Watts loved to compare the Tao to water. Why water? Because water is soft, but nothing can resist it. It flows around obstacles without fighting them. It finds the easiest path. It doesn't force. It doesn't rush. But over time, it can shape mountains. When Watts speaks of the Watercourse Way, he's talking about living like water, letting go of the need to control everything, trusting that life has its own current and that we can move with it instead of against it. This isn't passivity, it's a deep kind of wisdom, a knowing that forcing things often leads to stress and struggle, while flowing brings peace. To live the Tao is to understand that the universe isn't chaotic, it just doesn't follow our plans. The more we relax, the more clearly we see that everything has its place. Just like water always finds its way, so can we, if we learn to trust the flow. What is Wu Wei, and how can we act without forcing anything? One of the most powerful ideas in Taoism is something called Wu Wei. At first glance, it sounds strange. Action without effort? Doing by not doing? How does that even work? But Wu Wei isn't about being lazy or doing nothing. It's about acting in harmony with the natural flow of things, instead of fighting against them. Think of a skilled surfer. They don't control the wave. They don't force it. They simply ride it, adjusting their movement with perfect timing and balance. That's Wu Wei. It's action that feels effortless because it flows with the situation, not against it. Alan Watts described Wu Wei as the art of letting life happen without clinging, controlling, or resisting. It's knowing when to act and when to step back. It's trusting that sometimes the best move is no move at all. In the West, we're taught that success comes from constant effort and willpower. Push harder, hustle more, control every outcome. But Taoism flips that idea. It teaches that real mastery comes not from force, but from awareness, from tuning into the rhythm of life and responding with grace. To live with Wu Wei is to live like water, always moving, never straining. And in that stillness, we often find the greatest strength. East vs. West. Two ways of seeing the world. The Western mind loves control. It wants order, goals, systems, and certainty. From an early age, we're taught to chase success, define ourselves through achievements, and shape the world to our will. Life is seen as a problem to be solved, a ladder to climb, or a machine to fine-tune. But Taoist thinking comes from a different place entirely. In Taoism, life isn't a problem, it's a mystery. It doesn't need to be solved. It needs to be lived. Instead of conquering nature, the Taoist learns from it. Instead of trying to master life, they seek to flow with it. Alan Watts often spoke about this cultural contrast. In the West, we obsess over doing. In the Tao, it's more about being. In the West, we want to fix everything. In the Tao, we learn to observe, accept, and adapt. Western thought says, make it happen. Taoist thought says, let it happen. That doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of the illusion of control. It's the difference between forcing and allowing. Watts believed that by blending the best of both worlds, the drive of the West with the wisdom of the East, we can find a more balanced, peaceful way to live. Because sometimes the most powerful change doesn't come from pushing harder, but from stepping back and listening. The Tao in nature and everyday life. If you want to understand the Tao, just look at nature. Watch how a river flows. It doesn't fight the rocks, it flows around them. It doesn't rush, yet it always gets to where it's going. With time, it carves through even the hardest stone. That's the Tao in motion. Look at the trees. They don't try to grow, they just grow. Quietly, naturally. They bend when the wind blows. They lose their leaves in the winter and bloom again in spring without fear or resistance. Even animals follow the Tao. They eat when they're hungry, they rest when they're tired. They don't overthink. They simply are. Alan Watts believed that we too can live this way. Not by becoming passive, but by becoming more aware. By tuning in to the present moment. By trusting life's natural rhythm, even when it doesn't match our plans. When we stop forcing things, we begin to notice the beauty that was always there. We start to live not in constant effort, but in quiet alignment with the world around us. If this video spoke to you, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Part 2 is on the way with even deeper reflections from Taoism and the wisdom of Alan Watts. And if something in today's video touched you, even a little, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Share your thoughts. Let's keep the conversation flowing. Because maybe, in the gentle wisdom of the Tao, we'll find something we've been missing all along.